and you're watching our Behind the Sessions on AOL Music.
Don't wanna be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new media. Hey, can you hear the sound of hysteria? Television dreams of tomorrow. We're not the ones meant to follow. For that's enough to argue. Hey!
I mean, it was kind of strange. It was one of those things where I think we were all involved and like, this is really thrilling, this could be huge, but what if it's not? You know, there's something strange about starting a new show in that I think we've all kind of learned from plays and musicals on Broadway that there's no real formula for what is going to be a success and what's not. And so you really never know. We knew it was special getting into it. By the first time we had sung through the show with all of us together, I think that was a moment where it didn't matter. So I think I was never really thinking about the results while we were making it, because I think we all just got so wrapped up in the work and had such a fun time working on it together.
I think that one of the things I think that was such a privilege for us was there was such a respect that they gave us to do what we do as actors and singers in our own right. A lot of us are also musicians, and I think that they entrusted Michael Mayer a lot, as well as the company, to kind of formulate these characters and stories that really nodded to what the real sense of what the American Idiot record was about. So periodically they would come in, you know, every 4 weeks or so to kind of see what progress we've made and sort of help fine-tune a little bit of character relationships and that sort of thing. But for the most part, I think that they were just really, to me it was surprising how endorsing they were through the stages of the whole building of this machine.
Being a New Yorker, I was able to communicate to the album really well because I was able to witness the whole 9/11 situation. And so when this album came out, it really spoke to the younger generation of my time, because I think I was like maybe in junior high school when that happened. No, I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And I just remember like how when September 11th happened, it just changed the entire nation. And people just started to be a little bit more outspoken and had important things to say, and this album was definitely a reflection of that.
Only after a lot of therapy.
I think that's what makes the record such a success, is that you have the personal and the political, and I think it's what makes, you know, both sides of it so poignant, is that you can't have one without the other in this case with the storytelling. And when I really listened to the record in its entirety for the first time, and you just hear what a personal journey it really is, that was for me the first inkling I had that it could work really well on stage. But even then I had no idea that Michael Mayer, our director, was going to allow us to pull such emotion out of it. I knew it was there in the music, but I was surprised by what a kind of cathartic story, you know, between the three main characters and everything else that happens within their lives and everybody else's lives on stage. I was unprepared for how kind of overwhelming and emotional that was going to be.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is like you were asking about the rage. If we can feel the rage, I feel like there's this really American, especially young American thing that we all have developed, which is like a dormant rage. And I feel like, along with what Christina was saying, I feel like 9/11 and just the politics in our country from the last couple of years have, you know, have started to wake some of that up in people.
I think like something else that happened after 9/11 was that it actually became dangerous to express certain things.
That's right.
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 That in
dangerous.
fact there was like a new censorship that happened, in which you had to be sort of that you were opening yourself up to a lot of personal attacks if you were to express anything that could be interpreted as unpatriotic at that time. Any kind of criticism towards our government or our nation's actions could be interpreted as unpatriotic and as like sort of devaluing the lives of the people who died in 9/11 and stuff like that. And so it just made Green Day's statement with American Idiot, I feel like, that much stronger and braver and more important.
I have, I think, 13 fake tattoos that just live on me because it would be a real pain to put them on for every show. And they stay on pretty well. Every other day I go in early and put them on, or I put them on with our makeup artist. And it has changed the way that I'm treated on the street. The people that normally would maybe gravitate towards me across the street and don't talk to me, and the people that normally I would cross the street to be away from come up to me and talk to me. And it's been a great learning experience. And I kind of, I use it sometimes. Like I turn on the tough. I'm not really a tough guy in real life, but this makes me look that way. So I throw some mean glances every once in a while.
It's very athletic. It's funny because I can say safely, I don't think many of us are trained dancers. And so a lot of the things we do, I mean, we create it within our own bodies. You know, our choreographer would tell us to go in a corner and create 3 counts of 8 of, I don't know, like being in a dance club or, you know, getting out of a box, you know, something like that. And we will all collaborate and put these pieces together. And so a lot of the choreography does come within us, but it's very, very athletic because we are dealing with a very athletic group who are not particularly trained in modern dancing or ballet, but being grounded and being on the ground and, you know, being at a club and thrashing yourself all over the place. So
I think too, it was really important for Stephen Hoggett, who was the choreographer of the show, to really connect the physicality with the music that we were up against. It would have been really, I think, disingenuous to what we were trying to present if the movement wasn't hard, if it didn't require so much energy and stuff that came from the inside and that's just visceral over and over and just really pounding. If it wasn't that, I don't think that there would be a real connection to what was going on musically. And I think, you know, the combination of those two things are what makes this thing so believable and in the end, truly a touching story.
When you go see Green Day live, you know, they play for 3 hours, and when I saw them, the first thing out of my mouth afterwards was, like, how do they do that? And how does Billy Joe Armstrong, how is he still standing at the end of that concert? And I think Michael Mayer really was like, well, if we're going to make a Green Day musical, that has to be part of it. People have to kind of say the same thing after seeing our 90 minutes, even though it's a shorter evening. I think he wanted people to say, you know, how are they all still standing up after that show?
And they do.
I've said it several times.
we always wait. Right.
Am I awake right now?
There were a lot of different levels of guitar playing ability when we started that, and some people didn't know how to play at all, and some people were, you know, had lots of experience playing guitar. So for everyone to, you know, take lessons and do some amount of work on it was a very cool communal experience.
Well,
there is a cast recording.
We did actually do a record of the show, which was really fun because Green Day's our band on the project. So, so was their production team. Chris Dugan was the engineer. I believe Tom Lord-Alge mixed the project. And it sounds like a Green Day record. Really, I think that's one of the most eventful things for me personally in the realm of how this show has broken so many stereotypes is doing not just a cast album, but making a real rock record that can stand up to anything on the radio.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Green Day has recorded one of their most successful records 2 times now, because they went back into the studio and re-recorded everything from scratch for the American Idiot cast recording. They learned all the new arrangements that Tom Kitt and Carmel Dean and our band for the show had compiled, and went back in the studio and played all of that. And then we went back, we went into the studio in New York and put all the vocals on top of that, and we got to play, we got to play guitar on some of the songs, like Stark and Michael and I, who play guitar in the show. We got to play on some of the tracks, and on Green Day's actual like amazing vintage acoustic guitars that they've recorded with their whole career. So it was like a crazy experience.